The day the aliens arrived changed everything. It was a Tuesday morning in May 2137 when the massive ship appeared just beyond the moon. At first, people thought it was some kind of new satellite or perhaps a secret government project. News channels interrupted regular broadcasts to show the strange vessel that gleamed like polished metal under the sun. Frank Miller sat in his command chair at Houston Space Defense Center, eyes fixed on the main screen. As captain of the United Earth Defense Forces North American Division, he had trained for this moment his entire career. Yet nothing quite prepared him for the reality of first contact. The alien ship was beautiful in a strange way, with its crystalline hull that seemed to change colors as it moved. It was 3 times larger than anything humans had publicly launched into space. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission," said Officer Ryan Cole, his voice steady despite the historic moment. "It's being broadcast on all frequencies and in perfect English." Frank nodded. "Put it through." The screen flickered and the image of a tall, slender being appeared. It had iridescent blue-green skin that shimmered like fish scales and large, almond-shaped eyes. When it spoke, its mouth barely moved, but the voice came through clearly. "People of Earth, I am Ambassador Zixterol of the Galoran Confederation. We come in peace and friendship to welcome you to the galactic community." Within hours, the news spread across the planet. People gathered in homes, bars, and public squares to watch as the alien ambassador requested a formal meeting with Earth's leadership. The United Nations Security Council quickly convened an emergency session and selected a delegation to meet with the visitors. Lisa Dawson adjusted her navy blue suit as she prepared to lead the human diplomatic team. As Earth's chief negotiator, she had brokered peace deals between warring nations and handled complex international crises. Now she faced something far beyond her usual experience. The meeting was set to take place at a neutral location, the International Space Station, which had been quickly modified to accommodate the alien visitors. "Remember," she told her team as their shuttle approached the station, "we represent all of humanity today. Be respectful but not submissive. We are meeting them as equals." The Galoran delegation was already waiting when the humans arrived. Ambassador Zixterol stood a full head taller than the tallest human. Behind him were 4 other aliens, each wearing what appeared to be ceremonial robes with intricate patterns that seemed to move slightly when looked at directly. "Welcome," said Zixterol, making a flowing gesture with long, 6-fingered hands. "This is a historic moment for both our peoples." Lisa stepped forward and offered a small bow. "Thank you for coming such a distance to meet us, Ambassador. We look forward to learning about your civilization." The aliens seemed pleased with this response. They guided the humans to a conference room where they had set up what looked like a holographic projector. When activated, it displayed 3-dimensional images of worlds unlike anything the humans had ever seen. Cities built within the atmospheres of gas giants, massive space stations orbiting distant stars, and fleets of ships that made their own vessel look small by comparison. "The Galoran Confederation spans 57 star systems," explained Zixterol with evident pride. "We have brought peace and prosperity to many developing species over our 10,000 years of space travel." One of Lisa's team, Dr. Alan White, asked, "And how many other species are part of this confederation?" 17 full-member species, and 32 protected species," replied one of the other aliens, who introduced himself as Science Officer Kelmora. "Protected species are those we guide toward eventual membership. We believe your people would benefit greatly from our protection as you develop." Lisa noted the condescending tone but kept her expression neutral. "That's very interesting. And, what would this protection involve?" "Cultural exchange, technological assistance appropriate to your development level, and, of course, defense from less friendly powers in the galaxy," said Zixterol. "Our fleet of 500 vessels patrols Confederation space and ensures peace." The aliens continued their presentation, showing off technology that they clearly expected would impress the humans: faster-than-light travel methods, energy production systems, and medical advances. What they didn't know was that Earth had been secretly developing similar technologies for decades. Ever since recovering an alien craft that crashed in the mid-21st century, while the diplomatic meeting continued on the space station, a different kind of meeting took place. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, the real leaders of Earth's defense forces gathered in a facility hidden on the ocean floor. Watching the first contact proceedings via secure feed, Admiral Diane Russell studied the alien ship specifications that Earth's hidden sensors were gathering. Their propulsion system is interesting, but nothing revolutionary compared to what we've developed. Weapons capabilities appear to be primarily energy-based, similar to our phase cannons. General Paul Evans nodded in agreement. It seems the Galorans rely heavily on visible demonstrations of power. They want to impress us with size and showmanship. That could work to our advantage, said Admiral Russell. They have no idea about our hidden fleet or the Mars and Europa bases. Back at the space station, the first meeting was concluding. The Galorans proposed establishing an embassy on Earth and beginning what they called appropriate technology transfers to help humans advance. We typically begin with improvements to energy production and medical technology, said Science Officer Kelmora. Nothing too advanced at first. We find it best to introduce new concepts gradually to developing species. Lisa smiled diplomatically. We would be grateful for any knowledge you wish to share, though I should mention that Earth has made significant progress in sustainable fusion energy in recent years. This seemed to surprise the aliens slightly. Ambassador Zixtarel recovered quickly. Fusion? That's commendable for your development stage. Perhaps we can help you refine your methods. Over the next few weeks, the Galorans established their embassy in Geneva, Switzerland. A compound of strange, flowing architecture appeared almost overnight, built by small construction drones that the aliens brought with them. People gathered daily outside the new embassy, hoping to catch glimpses of the visitors. Dr. Alicia Grant was appointed as Earth Scientific Liaison to the aliens, with degrees in astrophysics and xenobiology. She was the perfect choice to evaluate the technology the Galorans were willing to share. They've given us plans for their fusion reactor design, she reported to the secret council that met weekly in the underwater base. It's efficient but actually less advanced than our Nova-class reactors. They're clearly holding back their best technology. Frank Miller, who had joined the council after the first contact, asked, "Do they suspect anything about our true capabilities?" "I don't think so," replied Dr. Grant. "They seem genuinely convinced that we're a young species still, finding our way to the stars." Ambassador Zixtarel mentioned something about humans being refreshingly humble compared to other species they've encountered. This brought a few smiles around the table. Earth's strategy of appearing less advanced than they truly were seemed to be working. 1 month after first contact, the Galorans invited Earth's representatives to tour their flagship, the Celestial Harmony. Lisa Dawson led a small delegation including scientists and military observers. The aliens proudly showed off their command center, living quarters, and even their engine room, though certain areas remained off-limits. "This vessel can travel at 12 times the speed of light," boasted Commander Jex Varelen, the ship's leader. "It has been in service for 70 of your Earth years and will serve for at least another century." Frank Miller, who had joined this tour as Earth's military representative, asked carefully, "And your defensive capabilities? I imagine there must be dangers even for an advanced civilization." The commander made a gesture that might have been the alien equivalent of a dismissive wave. "Our shield technology can withstand impacts that would destroy your largest cities. We have energy weapons that could vaporize small moons if necessary, though we are a peaceful confederation and use such power only for defense." Frank nodded respectfully while making mental notes to compare with Earth's own classified weapon systems. The humans had learned long ago to hide their true strength, developing technologies in secret while presenting a much more modest face to the world. And now, to the galaxy. As the tour concluded, Ambassador Zixtarel addressed the human delegation once more. "We look forward to a long and productive relationship with Earth. In time, with our guidance, your species may advance enough to be considered for full membership in the Confederation." Lisa Dawson smiled warmly. We have much to learn from each other, Ambassador. Humanity is eager to take its place among the stars. What the Galorans didn't realize was just how ready humanity already was. Hidden throughout the solar system, Earth's real fleet waited silently, ships with technology that might surprise even the supposedly advanced Galoran Confederation. For now, humanity would watch, listen, and learn while keeping their true strength in reserve. 2 months after the arrival of the Galorans, their presence had become almost normal to the people of Earth. Their embassy in Geneva buzzed with activity as delegations from around the world came to meet with the aliens. Tourist shops nearby sold plush toys that looked like Ambassador Zixtaral and shirts with slogans like, "My friend went to the Galoran embassy and all I got was this primitive Earth shirt." Inside the embassy, Science Officer Kelmora was conducting what the Galorans called a technological assistance session. A group of Earth scientists sat in a semicircle as the tall alien activated a holographic display showing the schematics. For a medical device, this cellular regenerator can heal most tissue damage in minutes, explained Kelmora. It represents an appropriate advancement for your current technology level. We believe humans are ready to move beyond your crude surgical methods? Dr. Alicia Grant nodded politely while taking notes. As head of the Earth Science Division, she had attended all of these sessions. What the Galorans didn't know was that she already had access to similar technology developed in secret Earth labs. "This is very impressive," she said, asking questions. That made her seem suitably amazed. "How does it target only damaged cells?" Kelmora seemed pleased by her interest. "The device scans for cellular patterns that deviate from the organism's baseline. It's quite basic compared to our advanced medical technology, but we thought it would be a good starting point for humans." After the session, Dr. Grant met with Vice Admiral John Norris at a small cafe 6 blocks from the embassy. They chose this location because it was outside the range of the surveillance equipment the Galorans had secretly installed throughout the diplomatic district. "They gave us the regenerator plans today," said Dr. Grant, stirring her coffee. "It's almost identical to our Genesis 3 model, just with a different power source." Norris nodded. "Same story with their weapons tech. Yesterday, Commander Jex Varelen was hinting about their defensive capabilities. The way he described their ship shields, I'm pretty sure they're using an electromagnetic barrier system that we moved beyond 5 years ago." "Do you think they're deliberately holding back their best technology?" asked Dr. Grant. "No," said Norris, lowering his voice. "I think they're genuinely giving us what they consider advanced tech. They just don't realize how far we've come on our own." Back at the embassy, a different kind of exchange was taking place. Vex Loren, the Galoran cultural attaché, had developed a fascination with human history. He spent hours in conversation with Professor Henry Wright, a historian sent by Earth's diplomatic team. "Your species has such a violent past," said Vex Loren, his large eyes blinking slowly as they walked through the embassy garden. "So many wars over territory, resources, and beliefs." Professor Wright nodded. "Humanity has certainly struggled with conflict. But those struggles shaped us, taught us resilience and innovation. I find your naval history particularly interesting," continued the alien. "For thousands of years, you built increasingly complex vessels just to fight on your oceans when space is clearly the more important frontier. The Galoran Confederation focused on space travel much earlier in our development." "Different paths of evolution, I suppose," said Wright carefully. "Our oceans were barriers between continents, so mastering them was essential." Vex Loren tilted his head. "Yet, even now, when you have aircraft and satellites, your nations maintain these large naval fleets. It seems inefficient." "Old habits die hard," Wright replied with a smile. "Besides, there's something about the sea that captures the human imagination." The alien seemed satisfied with this explanation, but later that day, Professor Wright reported the conversation to Lisa Dawson. Earth's chief diplomat had established her office in a building adjacent to the United Nations headquarters in New York. "They're still trying to figure us out," said Wright. Vex Lauren keeps circling back to our military history, especially naval power. Lisa nodded thoughtfully. Keep the conversation focused on cultural aspects, art, literature. The less they understand about our strategic thinking, the better. Meanwhile, in the Galoran embassy, Ambassador Zixtarol was preparing a report to the Confederation Council. His private chamber featured a communication device that created a direct quantum link to the Galoran homeworld, allowing instantaneous communication despite the vast distance. The humans continue to impress me with their adaptability, he reported. They absorb our technological lessons quickly, though they still have much to learn. I believe they will make a valuable addition to the Confederation in time. The face of Supreme Counselor Trasvaller appeared in the holographic display. And their military capabilities? Are they a potential threat? Hardly, replied Zixtarol, with a gesture of amusement. Their space vessels are primitive and few in number. They have rudimentary orbital defense platforms and continue to invest resources in ocean-going vessels, rather than proper space defenses. They pose no threat to even our smallest scout ships. Excellent, said the Supreme Counselor. Continue the integration protocol. Begin preparation for the protection agreement within their solar system. What neither of them knew was that Earth had developed technology to intercept and decode even the supposedly secure quantum communications. In the underwater command center beneath the Pacific Ocean, Admiral Diane Russell listened to the translated conversation with interest. They're planning to establish a permanent military presence in our system, she told the Earth Defense Council. That evening, under the guise of protection, of course. General Paul Evans frowned. How soon? Based on their conversation, I'd say within 3 to 4 months, replied Admiral Russell. They mentioned something called an integration protocol. That apparently precedes formal protection status. Then we should accelerate our timetable, said Frank Miller, who had been promoted to fleet commander since first contact. The lunar shipyards need to finish the last 3 Defender-class vessels sooner than planned. Dr. Grant, who also sat on the council, pulled up data on her tablet. We've learned enough about their sensor technology to know its limitations. Our stealth systems should keep the Mars fleet completely hidden unless we choose to reveal it. The council voted unanimously to increase production at the secret manufacturing facilities on Mars, Europa, and beneath Earth's oceans if the Galorans were planning to establish military control over the solar system. Humanity would be ready. Back at the Geneva embassy, the Galorans continued their cultural exchange program. Each week, they hosted delegations from different Earth nations, showing off technology that would have seemed miraculous 6 months earlier but now felt increasingly ordinary to the human representatives. During one such demonstration, science. Officer Kelmora revealed a small device that could purify water instantly. This simple technology could help billions of your people access clean drinking water, he explained to the group of diplomats and scientists. Greg Harrison, recently appointed as Earth's military liaison to the Galorans, asked innocently, "This is amazing technology. Do all species in the Confederation receive such generous assistance?" Kelmora made a flowing gesture with his long fingers. The Confederation evaluates each species based on their development level and potential. Some require more guidance than others. And how do we rank in this evaluation? Pressed Harrison, Ambassador Zixtarol stepped forward. Humanity shows great promise. You have overcome many of the self-destructive tendencies that limit other young species. However, you still have much to learn about galactic politics and the dangers that exist beyond your solar system. What kinds of dangers? Asked Harrison, his expression concerned but eyes alert. There are species who do not share the Confederation's peaceful philosophy, said Zixtarol gravely. The Malvorian Empire, for instance, believes in subjugation, rather than cooperation. This is why Confederation protection is so valuable for developing worlds. Harrison nodded thoughtfully. We appreciate your concern for our safety. Earth has always valued strong defense. After the demonstration, Harrison transmitted a full report to the Defense Council. The mention of the Malvorian Empire was new information that needed assessment. Earth's intelligence division began working immediately to gather more details about this potential threat. As the third month of Galoran presence on Earth began, Ambassador Zixterel requested a meeting with Earth's highest leadership. In the United Nations General Assembly Hall, the alien stood before representatives from every nation. "People of Earth," he began, his voice translated and broadcast around the world. "The Galoran Confederation has observed your world with great interest. We believe the time has come to formalize our relationship. We would like to offer Earth-protected status within the Confederation." He paused as murmurs spread through the assembly. This status would bring many benefits: advanced technology, cultural exchange, economic opportunities with other worlds, and most importantly, the protection of our fleet against any who might threaten your developing civilization. President Catherine Wells of the North American Alliance rose to respond. "Ambassador Zixterel, humanity is honored by your offer. Such an important decision will require careful consideration by all Earth nations. We request time to discuss this proposal among ourselves." The ambassador inclined his head. "Of course." The world debated the Galoran offer of protection for 2 weeks. News channels hosted endless discussions about the benefits and risks of joining an alien confederation. Some people welcomed the idea of advanced technology and cosmic security. Others worried about losing Earth's independence or becoming servants to the aliens. Through it all, the Galorans waited patiently, confident that humans would see the wisdom of accepting their generous offer. In Geneva, Ambassador Zixterel hosted weekly updates for the press. During one such event, a reporter asked about the military aspects of Confederation protection. Would Earth be expected to contribute to Confederation defense? The reporter asked. Zixterel made a graceful gesture with his long fingers. "Mag initially, protected worlds focus on development rather than military contribution. In time, as your technology advances under our guidance, Earth might provide support vessels or personnel to the Confederation fleet." The ambassador did not mention that in Galoran history, protected worlds often became sources of resources and labor for full member species. This detail was carefully omitted from all public discussions. While the public debate continued, Earth's Defense Council met in their underwater facility. Admiral Diane Russell presented the latest intelligence. "We've decoded more of their communications," she said. "The Galorans have already scheduled a protection fleet to arrive within 2 months. They plan to position defensive platforms throughout our system, regardless of our formal answer." Greg Harrison, who continued to serve as military liaison to the aliens, nodded. "That matches what I've observed. They speak of respecting our decision, but their actions suggest they've already decided for us." "What about the Malvorian Empire?" "They mentioned?" asked Frank Miller. "Is that a real threat or just a convenient excuse to establish military control here?" Dr. Alicia Grant pulled up a holographic display showing data intercepted from Galoran communications. The Malvorians appeared to be genuine rivals of the Confederation. They control 23 star systems on the far side of Galoran space. From what we can tell, they're more militaristic, but not necessarily more aggressive than the Galorans. President Catherine Wells, who had joined the secret meeting via secure channel, looked troubled. "So we face a choice between potential Galoran control or remaining unprotected against these Malvorians and who knows what else is out there." "Not exactly," said Dr. Grant with a small smile. "The Talon fleet is ready. 6 ships are fully operational, with the 7th nearly complete." General Paul Evans expanded the holographic display to show the locations of Earth's hidden warships. "The Galorans still have no idea these exist, and their scans haven't detected our stealth technology. As far as they're concerned, our most advanced. Military vessels are the orbital defense platforms they can easily see." President Wells studied the display. "Are we ready if things go badly?" Admiral Russell nodded firmly. "More than ready, Madam President. The Talon fleet represents technology, beyond anything the Galorans have shown us, but I hope we won't need to reveal it." The next day, Earth's response to the Galoran offer was scheduled to be delivered. Lisa Dawson prepared to address the Confederation representatives in a formal ceremony at the United Nations. Before she could deliver the carefully worded statement, accepting limited cooperation but declining protected status, alarms blared throughout the building. Ambassador Zixterel rushed into the assembly hall, his normally composed demeanor visibly shaken. "We have detected ships entering your solar system," he announced urgently. "Malvorian vessels, 15 of them, approaching at high speed." The room erupted in panic. Security personnel moved to protect world leaders as Zixterel continued. "This is most unexpected. The Malvorians must have learned of our diplomatic mission here and seek to disrupt it. We must act quickly." Within the hour, an emergency Security Council meeting convened with the Galoran representatives. Commander Jex Varelen displayed a tactical hologram showing the position of the incoming ships. "They will reach Earth orbit in approximately 48 hours, he explained. "We have called for Confederation reinforcements, but the nearest battle group is 4 days away. What are our options?" asked President Wells, maintaining a calm exterior despite the crisis. Commander Jex Varelen looked grim. "We have 3 diplomatic vessels in orbit. They have defensive capabilities but are outmatched by 15 warships. We will position them to defend your world as honor demands." Science Officer Kelmora added, "We recommend moving your population to underground shelters where possible. Malvorian attacks often target civilian centers to force quick surrender." Greg Harrison, representing Earth's military interests at the meeting, exchanged a subtle glance with President Wells. She gave an almost imperceptible nod. "We appreciate your sacrifice," President Wells said to the Galorans. "But perhaps Earth should also contribute what little we can to our defense." Ambassador Zixterel made a gesture that humans had come to recognize as condescending sympathy. "Your orbital platforms and atmospheric aircraft are welcome to assist, though please maintain distance from our ships to avoid friendly fire incidents." "Of course," Harrison replied. "We wouldn't want to get in your way." After the meeting, President Wells and Harrison slipped away to a secure communication room. The President activated a direct link to the Underwater Command Center. "Initiate Defense Protocol Omega," she ordered. "The Talon fleet has authorization to deploy." Admiral Russell's voice came through clearly. "Understood, Madam President. Deployment already underway. Stealth systems will remain active until the Malvorians pass Mars orbit." Back in the main conference room, the Galorans were busy coordinating their defensive strategy. Their 3 ships, the Celestial Harmony, the Eternal Wisdom, and the Galoran Protector, moved into position between Earth and the approaching Malvorian fleet. Commander Jex Varelen spoke confidently despite the odds. "Our ships are technologically superior to Malvorian vessels. Even outnumbered, we can hold them long enough for your world to prepare emergency measures." Ambassador Zixterel addressed the human leaders solemnly. "This unfortunate incident demonstrates why Confederation protection is so vital. Had you already been under our formal protection, a full battle group would have been stationed in your system. For the next 36 hours, tension gripped the planet. News channels broadcast constant updates about the approaching alien threat. Many people left major cities, fearing attack. Others gathered in religious buildings to pray. The Galorans provided regular updates on the Malvorian fleet's position, each report bringing the enemy closer to Earth. In the Underwater Command Center, Earth's true military leaders watched with calm determination. 6 massive warships had quietly moved from their hidden bases to intercept the Malvorians. These vessels, collectively called the Talon Fleet, represented decades of secret development. Their black hulls absorbed light and sensor scans alike, making them virtually invisible to both Galoran and Malvorian detection methods. Admiral Russell stood before a tactical display showing both the incoming Malvorian ships and the Galoran defensive position. "Interesting that the Malvorians chose this moment to attack," she said. "Almost convenient timing for the Galorans." "You think this might be staged?" asked Frank Miller. "I'm not ruling it out," she replied. "Either way, we'll be ready." As the Malvorian fleet passed the orbit of Mars, Earth's leaders gathered once more with the Galoran representatives. The mood was grim as Commander Jex Varelen updated the tactical display. "They will reach our defensive position in 4 hours," he reported, "We have detected weapons charging on all 15 vessels. Their communications ignore our warnings." "What about Earth's own defenses?" asked Greg Harrison. "We have placed our military on high alert." Science Officer Kel Mora made a gesture of polite dismissal. "Your orbital platforms have been noted, but I must be honest, they would not survive first contact with Malvorian weapons. Please keep your atmospheric aircraft within your atmosphere where they will be safer." "We understand," Harrison replied, his expression carefully neutral. "Earth appreciates your protection." In the command center, Admiral Russell received updates from the Talon fleet. The lead ship, UES Thunderchild, reported ready position just beyond lunar orbit, completely undetected by either alien faction. "All ships maintain stealth protocol," she ordered. "Wait for the Malvorians to pass lunar distance before revealing our position." The world held its breath as the deadline approached. Galoran ships broadcast final warnings to the Malvorians, who responded only with threats. The aliens warned Earth's leaders that the upcoming battle might result in some damage to the planet, if any. Malvorian ships broke through. "Your world faces its first interstellar crisis," Ambassador Zixtaral told the Security Council gravely. "How you respond will determine your future in the galactic community. If we survive this attack, I strongly urge immediate acceptance of Confederation protection." President Wells nodded seriously. "Let's focus on surviving first, Ambassador. Perhaps Earth will surprise you." The ambassador misunderstood her meaning, taking it as a statement of hope rather than a promise. "Hope is commendable, President Wells, but realistic assessment of military capability is more useful in times like these." As the Malvorian fleet approached lunar orbit, the Malvorian fleet entered lunar orbit with weapons fully charged. Their ships were angular and dark, with red energy signatures pulsing along their hulls. They formed an attack pattern that spread across Earth's orbital path. In the Geneva Command Center, the Galorans and human leaders watched the tactical display with growing tension. "The enemy vessels are hailing us," reported Commander Jex Varelen. "They demand we surrender this system to Malvorian control." Ambassador Zixtaral stood tall, his iridescent skin reflecting the emergency lights. "We will never surrender a developing world to Malvorian oppression. The Confederation stands with Earth." The 3 Galoran ships moved into defensive positions, their elegant crystalline hulls gleaming against the backdrop of space. They looked beautiful but hopelessly outnumbered against the 15 Malvorian warships. "Our vessels are engaging defensive protocols," said Science Officer Kelmora, manipulating the holographic controls. "Shield systems at maximum capacity." "Greg." Harrison leaned toward President Wells and whispered, "The Talon fleet is in position. Admiral Russell awaits your final order." The President nodded slightly and touched a small communication device hidden in her jacket. This silent signal was all that was needed. In the darkness of space beyond lunar orbit, 6 massive warships deactivated their stealth systems. On the Galoran tactical display, new signals suddenly appeared. Commander Jex Varelen stared in confusion. "What are these?" "More Malvorian ships?" Before anyone could answer, the lead ship of Earth's fleet, the UES Thunderchild, opened a communication channel to all vessels in the system, the face of Admiral Susan Carter appeared on screens throughout the command center. "Attention all vessels in Earth space. This is Admiral Carter of the United Earth Defense Force, Malvorian Fleet. You have entered restricted territory without authorization. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded, or we will take action." The Galorans froze in shock. Ambassador Zixtaral turned to President Wells, his large eyes wide with disbelief. "What is happening? What ships are these?" President Wells smiled calmly. "Just some deterrents we've been working on. Generation 1 prototypes, really, nothing special." On the display, the 6 Earth vessels moved into attack formation. Unlike the crystalline Galoran ships or the angular Malvorian vessels, Earth's warships were sleek and dark, almost invisible against the blackness of space except for subtle blue energy lines tracing their hulls. Each ship was over 2 kilometers long, dwarfing both the Galoran and Malvorian vessels. The Malvorian commander appeared on the communication screen. His reptilian features twisted in a snarl. "This is Commander Draz of the Malvorian Empire. We do not recognize Earth authority. This system will fall under our control today." Admiral Carter's expression remained neutral. "You were warned, Commander. Earth space is protected by the Talon Fleet. This is your final chance to withdraw." The Malvorian commander laughed, revealing sharp teeth. "Your bluff is noted, humans. Attack." The Malvorian fleet fired their weapons simultaneously, energy beams streaking toward both the Galoran ships and Earth's newly revealed vessels. The Galorans braced for impact, their shields flaring bright as they absorbed the attack. What happened next stunned everyone watching. The UES Thunderchild activated its main weapon system. A focused gravitational distortion formed in front of the massive ship, then shot forward toward the lead Malvorian vessel. The beam made no sound in the vacuum of space, but its effect was immediate and devastating. It created a controlled gravitational shear that sliced through the Malvorian ship's hull like it was paper, cutting the vessel in half without an explosion. The two pieces simply drifted apart, systems failing as atmosphere vented into space. "By the stars," whispered Science Officer Kelmora. "What kind of weapon is that?" The remaining Earth vessels deployed what looked like swarms of small drones. These moved with impossible speed, surrounding the Malvorian ships. Secondary weapons, phase cannons that the Galorans had believed were centuries beyond human development, fired precisely at the Malvorian engine systems and weapons arrays. In the command center, Commander Jex Varelen stared at the tactical display in shocked silence. President Wells and Greg Harrison exchanged satisfied glances as they watched Earth's true military power revealed for the first time. Within 11 minutes, the entire Malvorian fleet had been neutralized. Not destroyed, the Earth vessels had systematically disabled the alien ships without destroying them completely. The UES Thunderchild had used its gravitational weapon only once. The rest of the conflict had been handled with surgical precision. By the drones, swarms, and targeted energy weapons, Admiral Carter's face appeared once more on the communication screen. "Malvorian vessels have been secured. Boarding teams are moving to take survivors into custody. No further hostile action detected." Ambassador Zixterel turned slowly to face President Wells. His normally fluid movements seemed stiff with shock. You had these ships all along?" "Yes, Ambassador," she replied simply. "Earth has been developing its own defense technologies for some time." "But how?" demanded Science Officer Kelmora. "Our scans detected nothing like this in your system," Greg Harrison smiled. "Your scans saw what we wanted them to see. The Talon fleet has been operating under stealth protocols that your sensors couldn't detect." In the aftermath of the brief battle, the Galoran representatives requested an immediate private meeting with Earth's leadership. The mood in the conference room was tense as Ambassador Zixterel, Commander Jex Varelen, and Science Officer Kelmora faced President Wells, Greg Harrison, and Lisa Dawson. "Why did you hide these capabilities from us?" asked the ambassador, his voice carefully controlled. "We came in peace to offer protection and guidance," Lisa Dawson replied diplomatically. "Earth has learned through its history to be cautious. We appreciated your offers of friendship but needed to ensure our independence would be respected." "These ships," said Commander Jex Varelen, still visibly shaken, "they utilize technology that should be beyond your development stage. The gravitational weapon alone is more advanced than anything in the Confederation arsenal." "Perhaps your assessment of our development stage was incorrect," suggested President Wells. Science Officer Kelmora studied the humans with new interest. "The stealth technology that hid these vessels, it absorbed our scan frequencies completely. And those drone swarms moved with coordination that should require artificial intelligence beyond what we thought you possessed." "Earth has many surprises," said Harrison. "We hoped we wouldn't need to reveal them." Ambassador Zixterel seemed to recover some of his composure. "I must report this development to the Confederation Council immediately. Our entire approach to Earth must be reconsidered." "Of course," agreed President Wells. "And while you're reporting, please include our formal response to your offer of protection." Earth appreciates the Galoran Confederation's interest but declines protected status at this time. We would, however, be open to discussing a relationship between equals. The ambassador's skin changed color slightly, a sign of strong emotion. Among his species, between equals. Yes, I see that our previous assessment was ... inadequate. After the Galorans left to contact their homeworld, Earth's leaders returned to the command center to check on the status of the captured Malvorian ships. Admiral Susan Carter reported via secure channel. 14 vessels secured with minimal casualties, she said. One Malvorian ship was damaged beyond repair when they attempted to self-destruct rather than be captured. Our boarding teams prevented complete destruction and rescued most of the crew. What about the Malvorian commander? Asked Harrison. In custody and surprisingly talkative, replied Admiral Carter. He claims they were hired by a faction within the Galoran Confederation to test Earth's defenses. This wasn't a real invasion. Force, more of a probing action, President Wells frowned. So the Galorans may have orchestrated this to pressure us into accepting their protection. It seems likely, agreed Carter. The Malvorian commander says they were specifically instructed not to cause serious damage to Earth, just to make a convincing show of force. In the Underwater Command Center, Admiral Diane Russell reviewed the battle data with Frank Miller and Dr. Alicia Grant. The performance of the Talon fleet exceeded even their expectations. The gravitational shear weapon worked perfectly, said Dr. Grant, studying the readings. And the drone swarms coordinated exactly as designed. What concerns me, said Admiral Russell, is how quickly we'll need to reveal the rest of our capabilities. The Galorans now know about the Talon fleet, but not about our Mars and Europa bases or the other ships still under construction. One step at a time, suggested Miller. Today they learned we're not as helpless as they thought. That should be enough to change the diplomatic equation. Back in Geneva, the Galoran representatives emerged from their private communication with their homeworld. Their demeanor had changed noticeably, the condescending confidence replaced by cautious respect. The Confederation Council has reviewed the situation, announced Ambassador Zixterol to President Wells and her team. They propose a revised relationship with Earth, one of mutual cooperation rather than protection. That sounds more appropriate, agreed Lisa Dawson. We look forward to working with the Confederation as equals. 1 month after the battle with the Malvorian fleet, Earth's relationship with the Galoran Confederation had changed completely. The Geneva embassy remained, but the tone of all interactions had shifted from condescending guidance to cautious respect. Ambassador Zixterel had been recalled to the Galoran homeworld for consultation, and a new representative named Trelvoran had taken his place. The Confederation Council sends its regards, said the new ambassador during his first meeting with President Wells. We look forward to establishing a more appropriate partnership with Earth. The word appropriate had replaced protection in all Galoran communications. No more mentions were made of Earth's development stage or need for guidance. Instead, the aliens now spoke of mutual benefit and exchange. Lisa Dawson, leading Earth's diplomatic team, smiled at the subtle change. We appreciate the Confederation's willingness to adjust our relationship. Earth has always valued true partnership over dependency. Meanwhile, the captured Malvorian ships provided Earth scientists with valuable insight into another alien civilization. Dr. Alicia Grant spent long hours studying their technology, comparing it with both Earth's developments and what the Galorans had shared. The Malvorians actually exceed Galoran capabilities in some areas, she reported to the Defense Council. Their faster-than-light drive is more efficient, though less stable. It suggests the Confederation isn't as technologically superior as they claimed. Kevin Russell, newly appointed as Earth's ambassador to the Galoran homeworld, prepared for his journey. His mission would be crucial, establishing Earth as an equal player in galactic politics rather than a junior partner. Remember, Admiral Diane Russell told him during his final briefing, reveal nothing about our Mars or Europa bases. The Galorans know about the Talon fleet now, but not about our full military capacity. Kevin nodded. I understand. They still Believe those 6 ships represent our entire advanced fleet. And let's keep it that way, added Frank Miller. The best deterrent is the uncertainty about what else we might have hidden. The Galoran Confederation had requested a formal tour of Earth's defense capabilities, particularly the technology behind the gravitational weapon that had so easily sliced through Malvorian shields. This request was politely but firmly declined. Earth's defensive systems remain classified, Lisa Dawson informed Ambassador Trelvoran, just as the Confederation maintained secrecy around its most advanced technologies. The ambassador accepted this with good grace, but Earth's leaders knew the Galorans were intensely curious about how humans had developed such capabilities without detection. In the underwater command center, the Defense Council reviewed intelligence gathered from intercepted Galoran communications. The aliens were deeply concerned about Earth's unexpected power. "They're scanning the entire solar system trying to find our other bases," reported General Paul Evans. "So far, our stealth systems are holding. They've detected nothing on Mars or Europa." President Wells studied the latest intelligence summary. "And the trade agreements?" "Completely revised," said Greg Harrison. "They're suddenly offering their actual advanced technologies rather than the outdated systems they initially deemed suitable for humans. The latest proposal includes their current generation medical systems and energy production methods." Science. Officer Kelmora, who had remained on Earth while Zixtaral was recalled, had formed an unexpected research partnership with Dr. Grant. Unlike his previous condescending attitude, he now approached their work with genuine curiosity and respect. "Your approach to gravitational manipulation is fascinating," he told her during one of their sessions. The Confederation developed in a completely different direction, focusing on energy field manipulation rather than space-time distortion. Dr. Grant shared carefully selected information, revealing enough to maintain the partnership while protecting Earth's most critical secrets. "Different starting points lead to different technological paths," she explained. "Earth's isolation may have actually benefited our development, allowing us to explore unconventional approaches. Meanwhile, on the lunar surface, construction continued on the next generation of Earth vessels. These ships incorporated lessons learned from both Galoran and Malvorian technology, creating hybrid systems more advanced than either. The Galorans, now aware of lunar activity, were permitted limited observation of the shipyards, but the most sensitive areas remained off-limits. Ambassador Trelvoran requested a tour of these facilities, which President Wells approved with restrictions. The Galoran was escorted by Greg Harrison and Admiral Susan Carter as they walked through the public sections of the massive underground complex. "Impressive construction," noted the ambassador, watching as robotic systems assembled the hull of a new vessel. "When did Earth begin building ships of this scale?" "We've been developing our space fleet for several decades," replied Admiral Carter, without specifying exact dates. "The Talon-class vessels you saw in action represent our first generation of deep space warships." This was technically true, though it omitted the fact that Earth had already designed the next 3 generations, with prototypes of the second generation already operational. "The Confederation is particularly interested in your gravitational shear weapon," said Trelvoran, attempting to sound casual. "Such technology could benefit peaceful applications throughout the galaxy." Admiral Carter smiled. "I'm sure your scientists have similar projects underway. The Confederation's technological achievements are well known." The diplomatic dance continued as both sides carefully revealed some information while protecting their most valuable secrets. Earth's leaders had decided to present the image of a civilization with impressive but limited capabilities, advanced enough to demand respect but not so powerful as to be considered a threat. 2 months after the battle, a Confederation diplomatic cruiser arrived to transport Ambassador Kevin Russell to the Galoran homeworld. The journey would take 3 weeks using the aliens' faster-than-light technology. Before his departure, Russell received final instructions from President Wells. "Remember that you represent not just Earth's interests but its dignity," she told him. "We seek friendship with the Confederation, but never subservience." The ambassador nodded. "I understand, Madam President." And if they ask again about our military capabilities? Tell them what they already know, nothing more, she replied. Let them wonder what else we might have hidden among the stars. As Russell's ship departed Earth orbit, Science Officer Kelmora stood with Dr. Grant in the Geneva Observatory, watching the vessel disappear into faster-than-light travel. Your people continue to surprise us, he admitted. When we first arrived, we thought we were meeting a developing species in need of guidance. Instead, we found equals who had simply chosen a different path of development. Double quotes, Dr. Grant smiled. Perhaps that's the lesson in all this. True advancement comes in many forms, not always visible at first glance. The Galoran scientist made a gesture of agreement. We built beautiful ships to impress and intimidate. You built invisible ones that hide in the dark until needed. Different philosophical approaches, Dr. Grant replied. Your civilization developed in a system with multiple intelligent species, leading to early competition through display. Humans evolved on a world where we were often outmatched physically. We learned to hide, plan, and strike decisively when necessary. As the two continued their conversation, word of Earth's surprising capabilities spread through the galaxy. Other civilizations, previously uninterested in the supposedly primitive human world, now sent diplomatic inquiries. The Arcturian Alliance, the Centauri Commonwealth, and even representatives of the Malvorian Empire requested formal relations with Earth. In response, Earth established its first true space command with headquarters on the lunar surface. Admiral Susan Carter was appointed as its first commander, overseeing both the Talon fleet and the new diplomatic vessels being constructed for peaceful contact with other worlds. Earth's sudden emergence as a significant galactic power caused ripples throughout known space. Species that had previously ignored the small blue planet now studied human history with new interest, particularly the long record of warfare that had shaped Earth's development. They fight constantly among themselves, yet somehow emerged united to the stars, noted one Arcturian diplomat in a report to his government. Perhaps this internal conflict forged strengths we cannot yet fully understand. The Galoran Confederation, meanwhile, completely revised its approach to developing worlds. Ambassador Zixtarel, in his final report before being reassigned to a distant outpost, wrote simply, "We came to impress them. We stayed because they impressed us. Recommend highest possible diplomatic priority and sincere approach in all future dealings." 6 months after first contact, Earth hosted the first interstellar diplomatic conference in the newly constructed Geneva Space Center. Representatives from 12 alien civilizations attended, including both the Galorans and Malvorians, seated. At the same table for the first time in decades, President Wells opened the conference with words that would be remembered. Throughout the galaxy, Earth comes to the stars not seeking dominance or subservience, but partnership. We hid our strength, not out of deception, but caution,